You get what you pay for. Look at my cousin, Chloe. She didn't ask her fiancé for a dime, and look what happened. The guy ended up in jail, and she's still single. She's 30 years old, and everyone in the family whispers about it. So what? You're saying I'm not even worth a few dozen grand. You know what? Maybe I should just ask your cousin out instead. It's not that I can't come up with the money. It's just that she sounds like a much better deal. I was sitting with my girlfriend Jenna's family, discussing the money they expected from me. They had given me a few different numbers over the past few weeks. First, it was $20,000. Jenna's mom said it was a perfect start, a sign of a new beginning. Then, it became $40,000, which she claimed represented a love for a lifetime. The latest figure was $60,000, because their psychic said it was a power number that would guarantee prosperity. I told them to stop right there. No more. A gift with that much significance was a blessing someone else could have. Ethan, honey, I was talking to my astrologer yesterday, and she felt very strongly that the gift should be $60,000, Mrs. Williams said, her face a mask of sincerity. That's the only way you two can have a truly happy and blessed life. It's all about aligning your finances with the stars for lifelong prosperity. You see, we just want to give you two the best possible start. I glanced at Jenna, sitting across from me. She was staring at her lap, silent. It was clear she was on board with this. Now I knew why they'd suddenly invited me over for dinner. The price was going up. Again, a slow burn of anger started in my gut. From the moment we started talking about this, they had moved the goalposts again and again. From 20 grand to 40, and now from 40 to 60. I finally spoke up. I thought you said this was just a symbolic gesture, a tradition, and that the amount didn't really matter. So why does it keep going up? I asked, my voice tight. Wasn't 20,000 symbolic? Or 40,000? What's wrong with those numbers? Jenna's mom frowned. Ethan, a marriage is a serious commitment. Her father and I have to consider everything. And frankly, 20 and 40 just don't have the same cosmic energy as 60. The astrologer was very clear. What do you want us to do? Ignore an expert. She threw her hands up like an amateur actress, as if it were completely out of her control. Great. So it wasn't her demanding the money, it was the cosmos. I wasn't buying it. I pushed back. So if I agree to this today, are you going to call your astrologer again tomorrow for a new quote? What's the next lucky number? Why don't you just give me her number and I'll negotiate with her directly? After weeks of this back and forth, my patience was gone. My tone was getting sharper. Jenna's dad, who had been quiet the whole time, shifted in his seat, looking uncomfortable. He knew this was wrong. You don't pull a move like this right before a wedding. But his wife was the one in charge. My pushback made her face flush with anger. Good. If she wanted to fight, she'd get one. Seeing the situation about to explode, Jenna finally moved. She stood up and pulled me toward the door, saying we needed to talk. We walked out of the house, and I slumped into the driver's seat of my car. She leaned against the wall nearby. Ethan, my parents don't mean it like that. They've raised me my whole life. Of course they're emotional about this. I snorted. Emotional? You think this is about emotion? The more money they demand, the more emotional they are? The more you're willing to give, the more it shows you value me, Jenna argued. It proves that I won't be taken for granted when I'm married. What kind of twisted logic was that? She tried to give me an example. You know Ashley from down the street. Her fiancé's family paid for their entire wedding and gave them a $100,000 check for a down payment on a house last year. I actually knew about that. The bride's family owned a massive construction company, and the groom's family was in real estate. Neither of them was hurting for cash. It was a merger as much as a marriage. The groom's family wanted to make a statement to their business partners, so they made a big show of their generosity. But the bride's family wasn't empty-handed either. They gifted the couple a new Mercedes and a commercial property that generated rental income. I looked at Jenna. So what are your parents giving you as a wedding gift? She hesitated, fumbling for words. You know, my parents are traditional. They'll follow the local customs. I thought for a second. You mean the new set of bed sheets and that matching set of red Tupperware? Jenna's face flared with anger. We're a normal family. What do you expect? Did you really think my parents were going to buy you a car and a building? You want them to drain their retirement savings for you. How are they supposed to live? I laughed, a cold, humorless sound. So your parents can't drain their savings, but mine are supposed to? Is that how it works? Jenna's eyes welled up with tears. It just proves you don't really love me. My mom was right. If you really loved me, you wouldn't be arguing about money. Usually, when Jenna cried, I'd fold instantly and comfort her. Not this time. I was done enabling this. Who's the one constantly changing the price? Who's the one really arguing about money here? Ring, ring, ring. My phone buzzed. It was my boss. An urgent issue had come up at work, and he needed me to come in. No problem, I said into the phone. Given how the evening was going, I was grateful for the excuse to leave. Before I could even say goodbye, Jenna wiped her tears and stormed back into the house. I'm a senior R&D engineer at a tech firm. After several years of grinding, I've had some success and was recently promoted to a lead position. Jenna, on the other hand, worked in customer service and had bounced between several jobs. We were introduced by a mutual friend about a year ago. At first, I thought Jenna was great, sweet, kind, and considerate. She often complained about how stressful her job was and how little it paid. I understood. Dealing with angry customers all day is a soul-crushing gig, especially for low pay. Her salary was barely over $2,000 a month. She couldn't even support herself. I ended up giving her money every month to help out. I figured since I was making a good salary, around 20 grand a month on a good project cycle, it wouldn't be a big deal if she quit. I told her that if she was unhappy, she could stop working. I would support her. I often worked late, and having her manage our home life would be a relief. Over the years, I've been frugal and managed to save over $60,000, enough for a down payment on a decent house in our area. The only problem was that if we got married soon, I'd need my parents' help with the gift money for her family. My parents had already told me not to worry. They would cover it. This was for their son's future, after all. They liked Jenna, too, saying she was polite and charming and seemed like a girl you could build a life with. Looking at their honest, smiling faces, I felt like a happy future was within my grasp. Your father and I have some savings, my mom had said. Don't you worry about the money. Your cousin gave $15,000 when he got married. We can't do any less. We want Jenna to feel proud and welcomed into our family. $15,000 is a lot of money for a working-class family. My parents had sacrificed a lot to put me through college. I knew they could probably pull together $20,000 without too much trouble. So when Jenna's parents initially asked for $20,000, I agreed without hesitation. It was within my expectations, and I didn't want to haggle. The last thing I wanted was to poison the well by arguing over money. I imagined us getting married smoothly, and me working even harder to pay back both our parents and build our new life together. But then, seeing how easily I agreed, they started raising the price. $20,000, $000. $40,000, $000. And now, $60,000. This was a figure I just couldn't accept. No matter how many times we talked, I knew it wouldn't end. Was I supposed to ask my parents to take out a loan? Lately, I've been buried in work, pushing a new project to launch. Jenna, maybe trying to give me the silent treatment, hadn't contacted me at all. One night, as I was reviewing technical specs at the office, a call came in. It was Jenna's mom. She started yelling the second I picked up. Ethan, what is wrong with you? Jenna came home the other night and cried all night long. Her father and I couldn't console her. Don't you have a heart? You're not even married yet, and you're already treating her like this. I'm telling you, you need to come over here and apologize to her right now, or this isn't over. My own temper flared instantly. I was stressed from work, and now I had to deal with this lunatic. We wouldn't be fighting if she hadn't jacked up the price 3 times. And what did Jenna crying have to do with me? I was about to fire back when she cut me off. Ethan, I'm warning you. You better apologize to Jenna. Don't say I didn't warn you. You'll regret it. Then she hung up, leaving me with that vague threat. Unbelievable. She was threatening me, and she expected me to go comfort her daughter. Not a chance. The project I was on finally launched. Before I could even catch my breath, my boss gave me a new assignment. Orion Dynamics, a major player in our industry, wanted to discuss a partnership. If we could land this deal, it would mean a massive order for our company. My boss clapped me on the shoulder. Ethan, this one's all you. You close this deal, and there's a huge commission in it for you. If this went through, the commission would be substantial. Whatever happened with Jenna, a man can never go wrong by focusing on his career. I immediately started preparing. We had already been in online discussions with Orion and had submitted a preliminary project proposal. This meeting was mainly to address their questions and iron out specific requirements. As the R&D lead, I was responsible for answering all the technical questions. That afternoon, my team and I were waiting in the conference room. A few minutes later, the team from Orion Dynamics arrived. As they filed in, one woman immediately caught my eye. She was tall, with beautiful long hair and a sharp, tailored pantsuit that gave off an air of cool competence. When she turned her head, I saw a striking, elegant face that made more than a few people in the room do a double take. As a man, I paid my respects the only way I knew how, by looking a little longer. The more I looked, the more familiar she seemed. Wait a minute, Chloe? Chloe Vance sat down across the table from me. When her eyes met mine, she looked just as surprised. What are you doing here? We both said at the same time. I had met Chloe once before at the first dinner I had with Jenna's family. I didn't remember her well. After that, there were no other formal family gatherings she attended. From what Jenna and her parents said, they seemed to look down on Chloe, privately calling her a career-obsessed spinster who couldn't find a husband. The project meeting went incredibly well. As Orion's representative, Chloe's questions were sharp and professional. I, in turn, answered them with confidence. After clarifying her points, I detailed our plans for the new requirements and laid out a clear timeline, making sure to showcase our company's capabilities. By the end, Chloe, on behalf of Orion, signed a preliminary research and development contract with us. As the meeting wrapped up, she smiled at me. Are you busy after work today? Or do you have plans with Jenna? I shook my head. Right now, my schedule is wide open. Great. Let's get some dinner. Since Chloe was both Jenna's cousin and our company's new client, I couldn't refuse. I immediately booked a table at one of the best steakhouses in the city. Over dinner, Chloe asked if Jenna and I were fighting. She already knew. How did you hear? Chloe shrugged. Jenna's been blowing up the family group chat for the past few days, saying some pretty passive-aggressive things about you. Apparently, because I had agreed to the initial amount so quickly, Jenna's parents had already told everyone they knew that their daughter was getting married. My aunt asked in the chat how things were going, and if you two had set a date. Chloe continued. Jenna just replied, "What date? I'm not even sure I'm marrying him anymore." When I didn't respond, Chloe offered a faint smile. You young people need to learn to be more patient with each other. If you decide to get married, you can't let little arguments get in the way. I smirked. Chloe, you're only a few years older than me. You sound like you've got it all figured out. She let out a laugh, a genuine, warm sound. It was the first time I'd seen her like that. At work, she was all business, but in person, she was actually pretty charming. How could a thoughtful, intelligent woman like her be single? I got curious and asked her why she had never married. She looked surprised. How did you know about that? I felt awkward and didn't answer. Jenna's family had said plenty of nasty things about Chloe being an old maid who is so desperate she wouldn't even ask for money. A woman who's willing to just give herself away like that can't possibly be happy, was what Jenna's mom had said. But Chloe and Jenna were cousins. It wasn't my place to stir up trouble between them. Chloe, however, was very open about it. It's not a secret. Relationships don't always work out. She took a sip of her iced tea and explained. She did have a serious boyfriend, and they were close to getting married. Unfortunately, he was an accountant who got caught helping his company cook the books. He went to prison. With him locked up, the wedding was obviously off. I was stunned. That was some serious drama. Chloe was completely unfazed. She said it didn't bother her anymore. When you meet someone you think is right, you should go for it. If it doesn't work out, that's okay. Nothing is more important than your own happiness. I chewed on a piece of steak. I heard you didn't ask your ex-fiancé for anything. Chloe pouted playfully. We weren't married. Don't call him my ex-fiancé. And besides, I'm perfectly capable of taking care of myself. I can buy my own car and my own house. Why would I need a man's money for that? I asked quietly. Doesn't a big gift give you a sense of security? Chloe shook her head. Security is something you give yourself. Money from someone else can't buy it. We talked and ate for hours. By the time we left the restaurant, it was already 9 o'clock. I drove Chloe home. With the Orion Dynamics deal secured, I could finally breathe a little. The next day, I took a day off to sleep in. Around 10 in the morning, my phone started buzzing nonstop. Damn it. I had told my boss I was taking the day off, but forgot to silence my phone. I grabbed it and saw a string of messages from Becca. Becca was Jenna's best friend. They were always together. I knew, however, That Becca was a compulsive spender who was drowning in credit card debt, constantly borrowing from one person to pay off another. I had warned Jenna not to get too close to her, but Jenna wouldn't listen, saying I had no right to control who her friends were. Ethan, can you lend me $1,000? Please, I'm dead broke and can't even afford groceries. She was hitting me up for money online. I never liked Becca, so I just read the messages and ignored them. This was a classic case of throwing good money after bad. If I gave her $1,000 today, she'd be back asking for more next month, and I knew I'd never see a dime of it again. I wasn't interested in funding her lifestyle. Just as I was about to mute my phone and go back to sleep, Becca called me directly. Seriously? She was really going to starve to death without my $1,000. After a moment of hesitation, I answered. Hello. Ethan, can you spot me some cash? Becca's voice pleaded. No, I said flatly, about to hang up. Wait, it's not for free. I have something you'll want to see. I paused. What is it? A few seconds later, several photos appeared on my screen. It was Jenna having lunch with a man in a restaurant. And he wasn't the only one. There were pictures of her with several different men. I was baffled. What was going on? Becca explained. In case you didn't know, Jenna's been going on dates behind your back. So, is this information worth $1,000? I thought about it for a second and sent her the money via Venmo. Send me everything you have. You got it. A flood of photos filled my message history. It was obvious Becca had been secretly taking pictures for a while, waiting for the right moment to cash in. I didn't say another word, just saved all the images. So this was why Jenna hadn't been calling. She was busy playing the field, dates with multiple guys, lunch, walks in the park. She was a master of time management. As I scrolled to the last picture, my decision was made. Becca was still on the line. So, she said in a conspiratorial whisper, I've got video too. Interested? Another 500 and it's all yours. Quality guaranteed. I roll my eyes. 100. Take it or leave it. 300. 100. 200. 100. Or I'm good. Fine, 100 it is. I sent her another $100. This girl was really willing to sell out her best friend for pocket change. A video file arrived a moment later. In it, Jenna was arm in arm with a middle-aged man, laughing as they walked into a hotel. Even though I had prepared myself, the sight of it still hit me like a punch to the gut. Becca got her money and hung up. I rubbed my face, trying to process what I'd just seen. They checked into a hotel, just like that. I remember it took Jenna and me 6 months before we reached that level of intimacy. Damn, she really tailored her approach to the client. I thought back to her mom's threatening phone call about how I would regret it. This must have been what she meant. Jenna was already lining up my replacement. That afternoon, I found myself drinking alone. Feeling bored, I called my best friend from college. After I poured out the whole story, he immediately started lecturing me. Ethan, what are you so upset about? I was confused. She's my girlfriend, dude. She's checking into a hotel with some other guy. I got cheated on. Am I not allowed to be upset? You're looking at this all wrong, he said. Are you still planning on marrying her? Hell no, of course not. The thought of being with her now made my skin crawl. Exactly. So if you're not going to marry her, she's not going to be your wife. Which means you didn't get cheated on. I was speechless. What? She's not marrying you, right? So she's going to marry someone else. Which means, my friend, you're currently sleeping with another man's wife. You're the other guy. Top-tier logic. A work of genius. Suddenly it all clicked. He was right. As long as I wasn't planning on taking this car to the finish line, why should I care who else is taking it for a spin? Just as I was having this revelation, there was a knock on my door. Jenna barged in, looking furious. Ethan, what the hell is your problem? I was completely lost. I hadn't seen her in days, and this is how she greets me. She was the one secretly going on dates. Shouldn't I be the one yelling? Were you on a date with Chloe? She demanded. Not only did you not apologize to me, but you're hitting on my cousin. You're disgusting. Have you no shame? I almost laughed out loud. She had the nerve to call me disgusting after she'd been holding hands with some greasy middle-aged guy on his way into a hotel. But then I remembered my friend's advice. I wasn't going to let this get to me. No matter what, I wasn't going to be the one who lost out in this situation. So I explained calmly that Chloe and I had met because of a work project. She was my client, and as her cousin, it was only polite for me to take her to dinner. What was so unreasonable about that? Jenna thought it over and seemed to calm down. She sat in my gaming chair, her arms crossed. My cousin is just destined to be a workhorse. All she knows how to do is grind away at her job, making money. She has no idea how to actually live. Otherwise, why would she be 30 and still single? How to actually live? Is that what you call trying to squeeze every last dime out of a man? Seeing that I was quiet, she pressed on. You haven't called me. Have you thought things over? I was genuinely confused. Thought what over? Jenna shot me a glare. The 60,000, obviously. Her tone was like she was delivering an ultimatum. It finally dawned on me. I put on a smile and tried to sound agreeable. Jenna, honey, I've been thinking a lot. It's just 60,000, right? I'll pay it. Jenna's face instantly lit up. Really? Of course. I laid it on thick. Your parents worked so hard to raise you. What's 60 grand? I'd sell a kidney if I had to. She rushed over and threw her arms around me. A cloud of her perfume filled the air. Baby, I knew you were the best. Don't worry, I'll be so good to you from now on. I smiled to myself. Be good to me with what? But I was curious what her game was. She was seeing other men behind my back, but was still willing to go through with this. I wondered what she was planning. It was getting late, so we ordered some takeout. After we ate, Jenna looked at me expectantly. So what should we do now? I led her straight to the bedroom. What else? Maybe it was because I had agreed to the money, but Jenna was exceptionally passionate and attentive that night. It felt good to let off some steam. You should come over to my parents' house in a few days, she said afterward. We need to finalize things with them. There were still wedding preparations to sort out. I nodded. Okay, whatever you say. A few days later, Jenna called and told me to come over to her house that evening. She sounded hesitant and secretive, which gave me a bad feeling. Not that it mattered to me anymore. When I walked through the door that night, her whole family greeted me with huge smiles. There were a bunch of other relatives there, too. Chloe was sitting quietly on a couch in the corner. It was all a bit awkward. Jenna's parents had never been this nice to me. Her mom even peeled an apple for me and cheerfully told me to sit down. I wondered if Jenna had struck out with her other prospects. Maybe she had decided to stick with the sucker who was willing to pay $60,000. Given her behavior the other night, it seemed plausible that if I came up with the cash, she'd choose me. Too bad for her. That wasn't going to happen. Sure enough, after some small talk, Jenna's mom got right to the point. Ethan, dear, Jenna's father and I have been thinking. That $60,000 figure just doesn't feel right. What? Had they actually grown a conscience? I glanced at Jenna. She was staring at the floor again, not saying a word. So we've settled on a new number, her mom announced with a grin. 80,000. And I promise this is the final number. You give us your word, and you two can go get your marriage license tomorrow. The paperwork is right here. I was stunned into silence. After a long moment, I managed to speak. 80,000. What's the cosmic significance of that one? Jenna's mom bared her teeth in a wide smile. Oh, no significance. We just think it's a good number. Wow. She wasn't even trying to pretend anymore. This family was a pack of vampires. The second I agreed to one number, they'd jack it up again. $80,000. She had to be kidding. Even though I had no intention of marrying Jenna, I was still floored by their audacity. My original plan was to play the video of her at the hotel and publicly humiliate them, but this new twist had completely thrown me for a loop. Seeing my silence, her mom's expression shifted. Ethan, I'm not going to lie to you. While you and Jenna have been having your little spat, a lot of people have been trying to set her up. We're talking about successful businessmen, very wealthy men. I had to stop myself from laughing. This was her idea of putting pressure on me. It wasn't just setting her up. Jenna had already gone to a hotel with one of them. Did she really think I was that stupid? The truth was probably that she had explored her other options. They didn't pan out. And now she was back to me, the idiot who had already agreed to 60 grand. Her father and I aren't old-fashioned, she continued. We know you and Jenna have real feelings for each other, and we respect that. Just yesterday, a business owner offered $100,000 plus a job for Jenna. So you see, at $80,000, we're actually giving you a discount. She gestured to the room full of relatives. All our family is here today to witness this. Ethan, whether this happens or not depends on how much you truly love our Jenna. I chuckled. 80,000. At this rate, getting to 100,000 would only take one more price hike. Easy for them. I shrugged. Auntie, it's not that I don't want to. But 80,000. Even if my family sold everything we own, we couldn't come up with that kind of money. My parents were honest, hardworking people. I couldn't bear the thought of bankrupting them for this. Even Jenna started pulling on her mom's sleeve. Mom, 80,000 is too much. Be quiet, her mother snapped, shooting her a venomous look. You useless girl, not another word out of you. You're already taking his side? Who's going to take care of your father and me when we're old? This money is for our retirement, so we can have some peace of mind. Jenna immediately fell silent. Her mom turned back to me. Don't you have a high salary? Why don't you just take out a loan? With your income, you could pay it back in no time. A loan? She wanted me to go into debt to marry her daughter. Seeing the dark look on my face, she pointed to Chloe, who was quietly observing the drama. I heard Jenna say that your company has a new project with Chloe's company, right? And Chloe is your client? Chloe looked up, surprised to be dragged into this. Her beautiful eyes darted toward me. I didn't confirm or deny it. Jenna's mom smiled triumphantly. Once you and Jenna are married, you'll be family with Chloe. Just have her company send a few more big orders your way. With the commission from those projects, you'll pay off that little loan in a flash. She actually knew about project commissions. Jenna must have told her. I looked at Jenna, who quickly averted her gaze. So they had cooked this up together. Jenna pretending the price was too high and getting yelled at by her mom was all an act, designed to make me feel sorry for her and agree to the 80,000. Chloe, sitting nearby, quickly tried to intervene. That's not how it works. I don't decide who the company gives projects to. Chloe, why are you siding with an outsider? Jenna's mom snapped, clearly annoyed. Chloe's parents, who had been silent until now, looked mortified. Finally, Jenna's mom delivered her closing argument. I'm telling you, Ethan, marrying Jenna comes with a lot of perks. $80,000 is a perfectly reasonable price. So, what's your answer? But let me warn you, if you walk out that door today, don't ever come back. That was it. The rage I've been suppressing finally boiled over. 80,000. Do you really think I'm a complete fool? You want to take out a loan to marry your daughter? Are you insane? I told you won't lose out, she insisted. Chloe is your client. Don't you want to leverage that connection? I pointed directly at Chloe. In that case, wouldn't it be smarter for me to just marry her? The room went dead silent. Every single relative stared at me, dumbfounded. After a long pause, Jenna's father, who had been a spectator until now, jumped to his feet. Who the hell do you think you are, saying something like that? All our relatives are here. Are you trying to humiliate my family? I laughed coldly. And what do you call this? Inviting all these people here to pressure me into a corner. Jenna's eyes filled with tears. Ethan, don't joke like that. Even Chloe's parents looked embarrassed. Young man, what are you saying? Their relationship with Jenna's family wasn't that great to begin with. They had likely been invited just so Jenna's parents could show off, and they had come out of a sense of obligation. Chloe herself was blushing beet red, staring at me in disbelief. The other relatives just started whispering among themselves. No one stood up to defend Jenna's family. That told me everything I needed to know about their reputation. I pressed my advantage. You're the ones who said it. You said my connection to Chloe was so valuable that I should go into debt for it. So why not cut out the middleman and just marry her? It seems like a win-win, don't you think? Seeing Chloe's flustered expression, it was hard to connect this version of her with the cool, professional woman I knew from work. Realizing she had lost control of the situation, Jenna's mom completely lost it. Chloe is 30 years old. How could she compare to my Jenna? Are you blind, Ethan? That was the last straw for Chloe's mom. She shot up from her seat. What's that supposed to mean? Is being 30 a crime now? My Chloe is a successful, independent woman. So what if she's single for a few more years? At least she's not desperately trying to sell herself to the highest bidder. The two families erupted into a shouting match. Who are you calling desperate? My Jenna has plenty of offers. A rich businessman. Oh, stop it. What businessman? He was a con artist. Otherwise, why would you come crawling back to Ethan? I calmly took out my phone and played the video Becca had sent me, passing it around for all the relatives to see. Jenna's mom looked like she was about to faint. The other relatives immediately started chiming in. Who is that man? Jenna, how could you go to a hotel with him? The scene devolved into chaos. Jenna's mom started slapping her daughter, screaming, "Why didn't you tell me about this?" Chloe's parents joined the fray, and the other relatives clearly enjoying the drama, added their own criticisms. Amidst the pandemonium, I decided it was time for my exit. I had done what I came to do. As I slipped away, I could hear Jenna's mom screaming after me. "Ethan, don't you dare leave. If you don't pay up and marry my daughter, you'll have to pay for the years she wasted on you. You're not getting out of this." Her voice was drowned out by the noise. I didn't look back. After leaving Jenna's house, a sense of peace washed over me. I eventually told my parents what happened. My mom grumbled a bit, but ultimately left the decision to me. My dad was fully supportive, saying a family like that would have been nothing but trouble. My life returned to normal. I poured my energy into the Orion Dynamics project. Months flew by. One day, we had another project meeting with Orion. As I sat in the conference room, I found myself waiting expectantly. Soon, their team filed in. Ethan, my eyes lit up. It was Chloe, looking as sharp and beautiful as ever in her professional attire. I had to admit, she was stunning and a complete knockout compared to Jenna in every way. And after getting to know her, I found she had a straightforward and easygoing personality. As for her age, to hell with what her aunt said. 30 wasn't old. It was the perfect age. She sat down across from me and gave me a little wink. "Got any plans after the meeting?" I smiled. "I do." "Oh," she looked visibly disappointed. "Taking you to dinner," I added. "Does that count as a plan?" The meeting that day was tough. Even though Chloe and I were friendly, she was all business at work, pointing out every issue with surgical precision. We ended up debating technical points until 10 at night. As we were packing up, I felt completely drained. Chloe walked over and patted my shoulder. "You holding up, champ? Could I handle it?" A man never says no. I left my car in the parking garage, hailed a cab, and took her out for a late-night bite. We went to a popular local brewery that was packed with people. I took a long drink of cold IPA and felt instantly refreshed. Chloe picked up a chicken wing and took a bite. "You know, Jenna hasn't been doing so well lately." I ate a pretzel and shook my head. I hadn't had any contact with Jenna since that night. Between the insane money demands and her cheating, I had no reason to. She had called me a few times after, but I blocked her number. I didn't need that drama in my life. My aunt went ballistic when she found out Jenna had gone to a hotel with that guy. Chloe continued. "She's been yelling at Jenna every day, calling her worthless for throwing herself away. And that so-called rich businessman? Total fraud. He disappeared right after he got what he wanted. The person who introduced them is nowhere to be found either." I just smiled and didn't say anything. "Now my aunt has completely given up and is just forcing Jenna to go on date after date," Chloe said. "I heard she recently found some coal tycoon. The guy's loaded, but he's not exactly a prize. Over 40, divorced with 2 daughters." I laughed. "Well, I wish her all the best." We ate and talked, and a few beers later, we were both feeling a little buzzed. Neither of us were heavy drinkers, and the long day had worn us out. Chloe brushed a strand of hair from her forehead. "So what you said that day, did you mean it?" I was confused. "What?" She gave me a playful glare. Her cheeks flushed from the alcohol. "At Jenna's house, do I really have to spell out for you?" A goofy grin spread across my face. "You're an idiot," she said, turning away to take another sip of her beer. I immediately spoke up. "A man stands by his word. Of course I meant it. But you and Jenna are cousins. Won't that be a little weird?" "Who I date is my business, isn't it?" she retorted. "We're both single. We're not doing anything wrong. Why should we care what other people think?" That was what I loved about her. She was so clear-headed. Chloe put down her glass. "But I am a few years older than you. Have you really thought about that?" I waved it off. "What's the big deal? I've always been into older women." I gave her a mischievous grin. Things with Chloe moved quickly. Both of our parents were thrilled and fully supported our decision to get married. Chloe's family didn't ask for a dime, but I insisted on giving them a $20,000 gift. She didn't have to want it, but I felt it was the right thing to do. Jenna and her family didn't come to the wedding. I heard later that the coal tycoon kicked her out after she gave birth to a daughter. Apparently, his first wife was also divorced for failing to produce a son. But by then, I didn't care about any of that. My future was with Chloe, and it was looking bright.